Fit the runner, boy, you nigga, no question. You will run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm a 88 pack nigga, woof. I'm a 88 pack nigga, woof. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker change like a hoe, nigga. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Lightweight. Lightweight, baby. Woof. It's time to bleed this morning. Oh, boy. Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty ODBC. It's still out moving and shaking, but we got to talk this boxing, man. We got to bring y'all up to speed. This has all been one big I told you so. Let's do this roll call real quick. So I want to get to the smoke. Mark Hairston. Tay, good morning. Woke in the building. Derek Gaines, the legend. Salute. Darrell Anderson. Sam Mack. Stormy B-Man in the building. Ravens Nation. Rashard Livingston. Yeah, man. Jose, what's good? Yeah, man. Watch. Listen. All y'all gotta do is just watch. It's never on our time. It's always on God's time. Jonathan, what up? It's never on our time. It's always on God's time. Sometimes things need to cook a little bit. You could be in the complete right, but God is just saying, hey, man, look, I know you want this. I got this. Don't worry about it. I got this. It's still cooking. It's still cooking. Let me just cook a little more. It's not ready yet. And then God says, here you go. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the thing. It's going to look bad. It's going to look bad. But don't worry. I got you. You see, that's why I got Brother Deontay back there laughing, saying, AJ been a Budissi. Y'all know what that means. AJ been a Budissi. He been a Budissi. Sports guy, salute. AJ been a Budissi. And this is why I never liked the kid. This is why. I'm not even going to say I never liked the kid. When I figured out what type of time he was on, that's when I let him go. And a lot of my brothers was like, nah, he's an okay fighter. Pretty much give him a minute. No. I ain't got time. I rock in the building, salute. I'm done giving him a time. I'm done giving him a pass. I was done with him when I figured out what was going on. If y'all don't know, you see, this is what I'm saying. This is why the managers and promoters need to play the background. The reason why, all right, let me explain. Prius Moss, salute. Some of you are 60s babies, 70s babies like myself, 80s, 90s. Some of you were born in the 2000s. Let me talk to you cats that were born in the 90s and in the 2000s. I can tell that when you learned about Don King, everything you learned was not good. Let me say it one more time, because I'm making a point. When you learned about Don King, everything you learned was negative. Everything you learned was just, he was a crook. Mike Tyson is broke because of him. Bernard Hopkins, if you cared, didn't like him. He was a criminal and some of that was true, but most of it was not, because I spoke to fighters that worked with Don King and they never had a problem with him a day in their life. Okay? They put a coat on Don King. Was he perfect? No. But here's what you guys don't know. Here's what you guys don't hear about. Around that same time, not around, but That same time when Don King and Don King Promotions was giving us these fire cards, there was a man operating that same time, around that same time. And his name was Bob Arum. Until this day, we know what type of time Bob Arum is on. Rob Nail in the building, salute. We know what type of time that Bob Arum is on. And I gotta tell the youngsters, not our salute. I gotta tell the youngsters, I'm like, yo, he's been around since before I was born. Top Rank, he hijacked for Muhammad Ali to go. Y'all do know that, right? They be like, nope, 4 hour sniper salute. They be like, nope, nope. No, y'all don't know that because y'all were trained. You were born in the late 90s or the early 2000s. You've been trained. Just like today, you've been trained to hate Al Heyman. Look, I can explain why, I don't hate Al. I understand the business of boxing. I tell people this all the time. I understand the business of boxing, but I don't have to like it. And Al had to move and shake in a corrupt business. Is Al perfect? No. But is he the absolute worst? No. But if you was a Manny Pacquiao fanatic, you hated the PBC and Floyd Mayweather and Al Heyman. You understand? Hence why they started calling us Flomos, which is code for the N-word. Jim Diamond, salute. Jeff Spark in the building. The brothers UK in the building. Mind of Matsumusa, salute. Smash the like button, like the video, share the video. We are our own algorithm. Don't leave it up to Miguel or Jerome to do anything for us, especially today. I'm gonna hurt a lot of feelings. I don't care. Just stop me when I'm lying. Kev, what up, Kev? Unique Dawn in the building. Salute. Uh-huh. Yeah, Jose. Yeah. He tried to get Tio. For those of you that don't know, we're talking about the Cuban boxer, the Olympic gold medalist. He offered a fight between him and Ali. It was a mill. This is 75. A mill with some bread. Fight never happened. I'm not too educated as the happenings. I know that happened. They tried to get him to go pro. I know that did happen. That's a conversation to have, though. Maybe I want to have a conversation about that gentleman because he was nice with it. That's usually salute. Yeah, the brother out of Cuba never went pro, but yeah, man. So if you don't correct, you see, Abdul, what up? This is why what we do here is important. Important. You hear me say that all the time because we're here to tell the truth. We tell the whole story. We tell the whole story. Like, for example, I might be talking about Thomas. What up? HMC, salute. I might be talking about Pacquiao tomorrow, and a little bit is going to be about boxing. But I need you guys to understand. By now, there are kids that were babies when that happened, and they're a little older now, and they started getting the boxing. What do you think they're hearing about that fiasco between Pacquiao and Floyd? What do you think they're learning? Floyd Mayweather waited till Pacquiao got old. Furthest thing from the truth. Furthest thing from the truth. It's not the truth. How can you wait for someone to get old when you're older than them? Oh, Floyd waited till Manny looked vulnerable. He lost to Marquez and then they fought. Not true. Manny Pacquiao, the short version is Manny Pacquiao ducked OSDT for 4 straight years. 4. Cheese Man, how to salute. Dapper Dons. Cell Block, Rampage. I miss you in the chat. Know that I love you. I got the phone out here. It's kind of nippy where I'm at. So I got my hands in my pocket. I'm just, letting the chat do what it do. Um, so we have to step in and tell the truth. I'll give you another form of history. A decade from now, you're going to look at Canelo Alvarez's record, and you're going to see that, hey, man, he went to 175 and caught a knockout. That's impressive. It's going to be up to people like us to say, yeah, but the guy he fought, although I don't like Sergey Kovalev, the guy he fought a life or death match with Anthony Yarde. And he didn't have a proper camp. And Canelo, we don't know if he was on or off whatever he was on. Computer or whatever. He has a problem with drugs. We don't know how long he was juicing until he got caught. This guy was legacy patent. We're going to have to dissect what's on that piece of paper. This is what I'm saying with a lot of sports, basketball, baseball, football, boxing. A lot of times resume don't tell the full story. John Pound, salute. Not an 86, salute. A lot of times stats don't tell the whole story. I'll give you another example of that. If I'm in the NBA, let's say you throw me back in a time machine and I'm on the 86 Celtics. And I'm deep in the bench, right? And we are 3 games from the playoffs. And normally, if you watch ball, when you already made your seed in the playoffs, what they normally do is the last couple of games of the season, they don't really care if they lose those last few games if their playoff berth is solidified. So let's say the Celtics are the number 1 seed. I don't remember who's the number 1 seed in the East in 86, but give me a break here. 2 boxing nights. Salute, brother. So let's say I'm on the Celtics. We're the number 1 seed. So they bench Robert Parrish. And the bench is in. The bench is in, right? So Robert Parrish ain't playing. Kevin McHale's not playing. Larry Bird's not playing. They're not playing. So I get some playing time. Those last 2 games, right? And I'm on the bench. The bench players, the second string is starting. And, the second string comes in. So I'm not even in my suit. I'm finally getting to wear my Celtics uniform. So I get on the floor in garbage time, right? I get fouled. I catch the N1. Right? Ball goes in. I go to the free throw line. Let's say I go to the free throw line 6 times that game. And I shot 9 for 8 from the field. Those last 2 games. Do you know when the season's over? My stats is going to read that I scored maybe 12 points a game. And I hit all my free throws. 100% from the field. But you put me next to Larry Bird, statistics-wise, I shot 100% from the free throw line. Larry Bird didn't make all his free throws. He missed a couple. Well, he missed a few in the season. But on paper, I hit all of mine. So does that mean I'm a better free throw shooter than Larry Bird? No, that just means the 2 games. Game 81 and game 82, I hit all of my free throws. But he played all 82 games, and he missed like for the whole season, he missed like 12 for the whole season though. But on paper, his says like 92%, and mine says 100%. Does that mean I'm a better free throw shooter than Larry Bird? No, you have to look at the stats and dissect why it looks like that. Oh, he only played 2 games in the season. Oh, that's what happened. That's what happened. Oh, okay. It's the same thing with boxing, ladies and gentlemen. You have to dissect it. You have to dissect it. You have to dissect it. It's ridiculous. That's why I don't let anyone tell me about this Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather thing. I was here for the whole thing. I don't let anyone tell me about Don King. I was here for the whole thing. Was he perfect? No. But why y'all acting like Bob Arum was not there? Listen, Bob Arum has been around. Let me play this for you. Bob Arum is in this clip right here.
All my troubles come more nigga. Yeah, it makes me mad. Why you niggas are so against somebody for you?
How much longer do you think your
It
mom
makes me so mad. And long enough to beat your ass if you fuck up. That's right. You might not get out of the stadium tonight. You gotta be cool because you've been watched.
That man on the left, on our left, Ali's right, that was Bob Arum, y'all. I think that was like 1975, 76. That's how long he's been around in this business, playing in the sandbox with all the other people that were corrupt. So years later, when we find out there's an NBF rule in Top Rank, and shout out to the late great Cameron Duncan for solidifying that, because we didn't know until he said it on Fred's show. Top Rank, their offices were invaded by Top Rank's offices were invaded by the FBI. Did y'all know about that? That was the whole thing. So when you heard about Bob Arum flying down to Dubai to work with Daniel Kennedy, it didn't shock me at all. Mook, my brother Mook, salute. Aaron Butler in the building. G McCall. Isaiah, what up? Chase Gotti, salute. Delana, what's going on? Information in the chat. Know that I love you. I'm just looking to my left every now and again. I got my hands in my pockets. It's kind of cold. I'm outside. You feel me? So you have to be here to tell the whole story, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm saying. You got to tell the whole story. And if these guys, fighters, are benefiting off of the corruption, they're not going to say. A lot of people, they're not going to say anything. They're not going to say anything. They're not. These are the things we deal with. So when I was talking about Anthony Joshua, let me tell you the roller coaster ride with AJ. The roller coaster ride with AJ. It frustrates the hell out of me because when Eddie Hearn first popped up and we were getting to know him as a promoter, I remember the first video I ever saw of him. You know, he was like in character. He looked like a wrestling promoter, like a wrestling manager. It looked like he was cutting a promo for the WWE. And it was Ratchet, what up, brother? It was I didn't know what he was doing. And I had to ask around. I said, you know, who is this guy? They said, oh, that's Anthony Joshua's promoter. I said, oh, the big British kid. They said, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, well, why is he talking like that? 88, what up? So I said, okay, you know, he's trying to market himself to the American audience, but you don't do it that way. You don't do it that way. Be yourself. Is this who he is? Is this how he wants us to view him? Some sort of, you know, promoter that trash talks and, you know, and he wasn't saying anything positive about Deontay. But, you know, that's okay. Because all Deontay has to do is keep winning. And all Anthony Joshua has to do is keep winning. And the truth will come out because eventually the brothers will meet in the ring. But back then, I was like, you know, I'm happy for AJ. You know, that's my brother. I'm happy for him. Anthony, what up? I'm happy for him. You know, I wanted to keep winning, and they already had put him on a pedestal. They were saying, hey, man, he's the next Lennox Lewis, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, hold on. Don't put the curse on him. Don't do that. 704, salute. Appreciate you. I tell them, man, don't put a legend's coat on these people. You gotta let these guys develop. When Michael Jordan retired, there was so many next MJs. Oh, this is the next MJ. I'm like, don't do that. Harold Miner, next MJ. What happened? Grant Hill, next MJ. He was nice, had a great career, but he wasn't no MJ. Glenn Big Dog Robinson. He's the next MJ. Slow it down. Relax. Slow it down. And then came Kobe. That was the closest thing you got to MJ as far as style of play and game intensity. But he wasn't even MJ. MJ never went to the finals and lost. I'm not even going to get into the LeBron MJ thing. To me, there's no comparison. I lived through the era. I watched it. I talked to players that played against MJ. They tell me there's no comparison. Not even Kobe, but maybe I'll engage to a debate later on. I don't, I just don't feel like doing it. Ern, what up, Ern? Yeah, Allen Houston. Man, the only thing that Allen Houston had in common with AJ, I think they had the same manager. And Allen Houston had some sort of stupid ass contract where he was making money when he went home. I think he was making money when he retired. It was crazy. But these guys need to let the management. They can't be so thirsty to find the next star that they putting legends on them. And once they said that about Anthony Joshua, I paid attention. I said, okay, let's see. He's a handsome lad. He's a big lad. He looks like a bodybuilder. And that's pretty nice. Okay. He has all his teeth. And he had a decent punch. Career-defining fight. Career-defining fight, to me, was the Klitschko fight. Now, let me take you there with the Klitschko fight. So we already established that I was looking at Eddie Hearn strange. I said, okay, he seems to think that's just what we do here in America. I don't know what audience he's trying to capture. But to me, when I first saw Eddie Hearn's first, it wasn't even an interview. That's why I said it was like a WWE promo. It wasn't even an interview. He was just talking shit to the camera. And I was just like, oh, what is this? Nah, Mook, you ain't lying, bro. You ain't lying. I ain't understand none of that. That was crazy. That was crazy. I'm like, Larry Johnson? This wasn't Grandma Ma from Charlotte Hornets, Larry Johnson. This was Larry Johnson with all the back problems. Y'all gave him that thread? Okay. It didn't amount to a ring, but I'm going to mind my business. I'm mind my business. I ain't understanding. But whatever. So, I watched Eddie Hearn. I left it alone. Feel me? I left it alone. And I'm watching AJ, the first time I saw AJ, I forgot, he knocked out some show. And I said, okay, and the UK supports their fighters to an absurd degree. I mean, they come out. All right. And which is fine. When I say absurd, it's just slang. I'm not saying it's stupid. I'm saying that's what they're supposed to do. Support your guys. That's just slang. I'm not saying absurd for them to be stupid. They just support their guys. That's just what it is. I'm cool with that. Main biker salute. So he gets in the ring with Dillian White, and they said, "Oh, that's his rival. He beat him in the amateurs or whatever." I said, "Okay, this kid got gold medals, right? DOG salute." Exactly, Thomas. So like here in America. So he gets in the ring with Dillian White, and I ran to YouTube, and so their first fight is on YouTube. Dillian got him. Dillian stopped him. So now, okay, so this is a grudge match. So automatically, I tuned in. And if you watch that match between him and Dillian White, Dillian buzzed AJ. He buzzed him. I said, oh, but AJ showed some heart. And he gathered his bearings, he got back, and he ended up stopping Dillian. I said, oh, okay, this kid, I think he got a little dog in him. Okay, I like that. So I had no problem with that. I had no problem with that. I didn't have no problem with that. I said, you know what? I like this man. So I said, okay, I'll rock with this kid. He didn't fold under the pressure. I could dig it. And then the Klitschko fight came. So automatically, I'm supporting my brother, AJ. I'm supporting him. Klitschko fight, Klitschko, he got up for that fight. He trained. And Klitschko, I think he was like 40, 41 when that happened. But he was in phenomenal shape, which makes me wonder. He looked a little, let's just say, a little too healthy. I'm not putting no coats on him, but I'm just saying. AJ came in at that fight. What was he like? 240, 250 pounds in that fight. I think they fought at Wembley, and it was a great fight. AJ got dropped by the classic Klitschko right hand. And I remember watching that, and I jumped up I was in my living room. I jumped up off my couch. It's like, yo, get up, get up, get up. And I was screaming, get up, get up. And he got up, and he fought back. And I said, man, get it back, man, get it back. And AJ got it back, man. AJ got up. He got up off, what's up, brother? He got up off the floor, and he fought back. He fought back. Weird thing, when he got knocked down, he was smiling. And I said, that's a little weird. You know what I mean? You knocked down, it's a little embarrassing, but you just ate a Klitschko right hand and you got up. I mean, that's no basic feat, man. Normally when Klitschko hits you with that right hand, it's night-night. You don't make it. But the young man got up and he fought back. And he started dropping Klitschko, and he ended it with that. AJ has a really, really nice uppercut, a really nice one, and he slapped him, man. And with that, and just real quick, 'cause, I'm so more StreamYard. Shout out to Shakira Fields in that super chat. Much love. He says, happiest of birthdays to you, Drew. Enjoy it today and all days to come. I appreciate you, Queen. Thank you so much. I'll be the big 5-0 on Sunday. And I feel just like how I've been feeling the rest of the week. A little bit of pain, but I'm okay. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you guys, man. Seriously. All of you for all your support, everybody. Life ain't easy, but I'm here. You know what I mean? And we talking this boxing, and we talking health and wellness, and we talking being an adult. I want the adults to do the adulting. If I'm here, if I get you through your morning, and if you see value in what I do, just show up, hit the like button, like and share the video. Super chats or cash apps or demos or Zells, that's at your own leisure. You know what I mean? But I appreciate the amount of support because what we do here is important. I don't like how the sport of boxing is treating us. I just don't like it. And this is how I vent my frustrations. Back in the 80s or the early 90s, you couldn't do this. So we can get on here and we can speak our truth and keep it honest. Eric O, salute. Mr. Shelton, Bill Spoolie, salute. Big Daddy Cloud, salute. I see you. World Constrictor. So AJ wins the Klitschko fight, and I said, okay, we got one. We got one. And let me remind y'all, Lennox Lewis didn't win all his fights. Lennox Lewis been dropped before. So I'm not holding getting dropped in the fight. I don't hold getting dropped in the fight on any fighter. See, some of these new fans, once a fighter gets dropped, they be like, oh, he trash. He ain't got no chin. I ain't saying that. I'm not saying that. I want to see what happens when a fighter gets dropped and then gets up off the damn floor. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. All you clowns told my Devin ain't got no chin. I don't know where y'all getting this from. Y'all the type of dudes that wife up a chick that you just sleep with on the first night. What are you doing? You just got lucky. You caught at the right place, the right time. She must have just broke up with a man, the right amount of alcohol, but she's still coherent and says, you know what? You only live once. And she might not plan on seeing you past that night, but you want to wife her. What's wrong with you? You rock with a fighter, and the one time he has a hard way to go or lose a fight. Oh, he ain't what I thought he was. He trash. Well, he just lost. So what? I want to know what happens when the fighter gets hurt. We seen Devin get hurt, and then you find out that Ryan was juicing? What you mean? What you mean? That's what I'm saying. Y'all not built like us, man. You're not. Y'all not. So at that time, I started to see what AJ was made of. I said, okay. So then on our side of the pond, brother Deontay was doing his thing. And then the smear campaign started. The smear campaign started. And this is when I started to get annoyed with it. Salute to Fallout Sniper. And that super chat, he said, happy early B-Day. I'll be celebrating my daughter B-Day as well. Oh, shout out to the baby girl. Shout out to the Patreon. Y'all go tap in, man. Salute to you, good brothers. And shout out to your baby girl, man, for real. It's real talk. Scorpios in the building. Yes, sir, man. Salute to baby girl. I appreciate you for our sniper. Yeah, tap into the Patreon. I'm on the road right now, but I'm gonna be cooking on. I got some things I'm gonna release. I didn't have time to release it when because I had to hop on the airplane, and I'm not even in New York, y'all. So I gotta give y'all this. I gave her this content. I really do. Chris Leg, salute. True Will, my brother, salute. Copper, salute. Eric, salute to you, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. So on our side of town, brother Deontay, 6'7", like 210 pounds on a good day after Thanksgiving, and he's over here knocking over trees. On average, he's outweighed in every fight by 25 to 30 pounds, and he's knocking these guys the hell out. So we got ourselves a good one over here. But what I noticed over here was that everybody's talking about skinny legs, and he don't have no skill, and he trash. And I'm like, this is odd. This is very strange. Why are we talking about body parts? Why are we not talking about the work? Brother Deontay's putting in the work. Why are y'all doing this to him? Why y'all talking crazy? BBO, salute. Oh, no doubt, BBO, stay on that. Let this day be the first day of the rest of your life, man. For real. Let's make some changes. Salute to you, brother. My brother, the International Quiet Storm in the building. Salute to you in that super chat. Much love. He says, salute, Drew. Peace to the Pep Pack and the mighty LDBC. Salute to you, good brother. Much love and appreciation, man. If y'all don't know, the International Quiet Storm was a wrench on the late, great Kevin Samuels chat. So I'm honored when this brother shows up and supports my content. This guy was a wrench on the late, great Kevin Samuels show. So I appreciate you, good brother. Much love and appreciation. Thank you so much, brother. Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Mo G, salute. Yes, sir. BBO, stay blessed, man. Stay on that. Stay on that. You got a whole family, brother. Yes, sir. And keep your results posted, man. I'd like to see that. Definitely. So, brother Deontay's over here, doing his thing. But I understand American boxing fans, they're very casual. So, like I tell y'all, at this point, people have to qualify to talk boxing with you. My channel, 78, BF, all of us, when we talk boxing, it's not for the casual ear. Sometimes you got to dumb your conversation down, because every now and again, some things, some people will slip through the cracks. And I'm just saying, to protect your peace, you can't be going on here screaming with any and everybody when they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't know. So imagine, like, when you're 30 years old, hey, status, salute, brother. I appreciate you. When you're talking about the sport, and you're talking about the sport as a whole, and you're talking about it from an unbiased level, and you can respectfully have a favorite fighter. You can respectfully have a favorite fighter, but when you're talking about it through an unbiased eye, you can say, yeah, I support this fighter, but this fight will be a little difficult, da-da-da-da. An unconditional fanatic will come through and then start telling you, oh, you switched up. You switched up. What do you mean I switched up? What are you talking about? I'm telling the truth here. I'm gonna buy every pay-per-view this fighter has. I'm gonna support them. If the fighter's fighting where I can get to it, I'll get to it. I'll buy a ticket. What do you mean I switched up? What do you mean? I'm just telling the truth. I'm talking boxing. You just want to sleep with him or blow him. You want to poison his wife. He's a straight man, and you want to poison his wife. What are you talking about? I switched up. What do you mean? That always happens. Blue blood goes through that all the time. He goes through that all the time. When he starts saying, "Hey, I fucks with this guy, but he's gonna have a problem with this and this guy." Da 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 da. Oh, yo, Blue, you switched up. What do you mean? What do you mean? So you have to be very careful about who you talk to. You gotta be careful, my brother. I am Trill Will LDBC or nothing, my brother in that super chat with love. He says today a king was born. Me, oh yeah, the 13th. This is my brother Trill Will. My brother Trill Will's B-Day is today. He said happy early birthday, big bro. Salute to you, bro. Trill Will been here from the beginning, bro. We seen everything. We've been through everything. We seen it, bro. We seen it. And hey man, we here. Feel good, don't it? Salute to you, good brother. And if y'all not subscribed to Trill Will to get that political education, man, I don't know what else to tell y'all. Y'all better get on y'all grind. Dragon fan, salute. Bob in the building, salute. David Scott III, Renzo, salute. What's going on? So yes, sir. We have to be cognizant of who we have conversations with. So we're watching Deontay. Michael, what up, brother? Coach Hudson in the building. Salute, brother. Yeah, bro. Yeah, I'm getting to it, brother. Mike, I'm getting to it. Um, so Deontay's over here doing this thing, and I noticed that he's not getting the same level of support that AJ's getting, but that's expected because American boxing fans, they're not like they used to be in the 90s and in the 80s. We used to be a proud country in support of our American fighters, right? And that's gone away. The atmosphere has changed. Floyd Mayweather has forever changed the atmosphere. And Floyd Mayweather, respectfully, career-wise, he did do some good things. But with a level of good, he brought along a lot of bad. I'm not gonna say bad things. I'm gonna say things that I didn't care for. Which is why at the end of the day, I'm proud when I say, I'm just here for the sport. I draw the line when it turns into a racial thing and everything else. I always will call that out. I also have to call out when these brothers and sisters start falling into this. They fall into this rut of regurgitating talking points when those talking points are originated from racist fight fans. And when you start asking them, "Hey man, why do you feel that way?" They really, they don't understand why they say what they say. And then when it's also very funny when you recognize those talking points, you can almost finish their sentences. And when they start saying, "Oh, so you know what I know?" No. I know where you got it. I don't know what you know. I know where you got it. You got it from that devil lady, her. That's what you got. Everything you say, I heard him say it, and it's 100% wrong. That's why I don't listen when an unfamiliar comes in here and they start regurgitating something they heard from Ellie Sackback or one of the Metal Yellow Deep Blowing channels. You know where they got it from. But before Metal Yellow, there was Anthony Joshua. So I'll just keep it there. The AJ Wilder, that rivalry started in social media. All right. Once upon a time, we were told that big fights aren't made on YouTube, and we almost had Gary Russell versus Devin Haney, and that was made on YouTube, and it was made so much to the point where they started talking about it, like what they call real media. We were making money during the pandemic. They were getting laid off because they couldn't go to work, and they got mad at us. I ain't gonna revisit that, but that's the truth. Um, so what ended up happening was they started painting Deontay as this villain, and all I wanted us to do as a collective, first of all, we're American. Let's have some pride, because I don't have a problem with our family from the UK, whether they're black or brown, they're waving their Union Jack. I don't have a problem with that. Support your guy. Support your guy. I was I was upset that our brothers over here wasn't waving our American flag in support of Deontay Wilder. I didn't like that. And then these brothers started regurgitating talking points. For example, Eddie Hearn's talking points. Just because I say that they're points, that don't mean that they were valid points. They were just points. Deontay doesn't have a superior skill set. Okay, it's an ugly style. But you saw him fight 10 times and all those guys were bigger than him. And all those guys went to sleep. So what is your point? I don't care how it looks. Hell, he just flings punches. Okay, but when those punches land, what happens? Normally people go to sleep. So what are we talking about? I don't care about how he looks. Can you stop it? You call it ugly. I call it awkward. If y'all remember early Manny Pacquiao, nothing that he did was conventional, but they called it awkward. Oh, okay, Stormy, text me that. Text me that. I didn't, okay, fine. If you grew up in the gym like how I did, some of it is unconventional. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. But one thing I always noticed about Brother Deontay, I said, you know what? Mathematically, when you throw a clubbing punch from a wide range like that, when it lands, it's technically, mathematically, the steam is supposed to be off that punch by the time it lands. But what I noticed about Deontay, when he's hitting you with the clubbing punch, even if these dudes are blocking it, their hands are getting pushed into their face, and I'm like, "Yo, this dude's hitting hard. How is he hitting that hard?" And you know when I understood it, like face to face, Hassan, salute. You know when I understood why he hit hard? When I met the brother face to face finally, and I gave him a pound. I felt the power in his hands. I said, "Oh shit." I said, oh, "Okay, makes sense." Because I didn't understand it when I was watching it on television. I didn't understand. I said, "Yo, how's he clubbing somebody?" The last person I saw somebody like get hit like with a clubbing punch that you're really not trained to throw in the gym. The last person I seen do that was George Foreman. The last person I saw hit somebody with a clubbing punch and they start bobbling all around the damn ring like they got hit with a bat was George Foreman. I was like, wait a minute. That hurt? Wait, that's not mathematically, that's not supposed to, in a gym, the shortest distance between a space is a straight line. You plant your feet, you push off the hip, up your buttocks, through your shoulder, straight down the pipe. That's where the power comes from. So what is this clubbing stuff? And why are these people getting hurt by this? And this guy, he's not even 220 pounds. How the hell is this happening? And then I met him. And I said, oh, okay. Question answered. Because I didn't understand it. It's not that I didn't believe it. I didn't understand it. I said, damn, this guy must be hitting hard, man. And he was. He was. And I always said, man, y'all better be glad Deontay didn't have like a Tommy Hearns skill set. Because he'd be a problem, a bigger problem. But we're not going to talk about what are scenarios. We're talking about what happened. So whatever. So I'm watching Deontay and I'm supporting him. And then I found out the general had a relationship with him. And I said, oh, this is great. So it brought us closer to him. So we built a relationship with him. Right? So I was already supporting him. I said, oh man, now I really, really, really support him now. Rick Blackwell, salute. I really support him now. And this brother was down to earth. You know, he was in touch with it. He had a relationship. He has a relationship with God. And just a likable guy. A likable guy. And this is all before I met him. All before I met him. I said, you know what? This is the guy right here. Then Emmanuel Stewart gave him, he gave him the baton when he was asked who's next up. He mentioned Tyson Fury and he mentioned Deontay Wilder. And I said, if that's not the seal of approval, I don't know why people are just ignoring what Emmanuel Stewart said, man. Accurate salute, brother. I don't know why people are just so against that. So, you know, I already knew it. I said, people are just, they just like that. It is what it is, man. So, Deontay, I'm watching his development. He had Mark Breland in his corner. Mark Breland out of Brooklyn. You know, he was a rock star in his own right at that time. So I'm just watching the brother and I'm supporting him. You know, and he ends up getting his world title. He fights the Mainsley Burn. He out hustles him down the stretch. Fights him in the rematch. He slept him badly. If you never saw the rematch, Case of Asura, it was one of the most violent knockouts I've ever seen. And the smear campaign began right there. Because automatically they started putting him in the same sentence with this lad, Anthony Joshua from across the pond. Now, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it because, you know, that's just what it is. I didn't mind it at all. So for me, at first, it was just friendly rivalry. I didn't have a problem with Anthony Joshua. It's just a bomb squad over here. That's my American brother. You know what I mean? And AJ was my British brother. You know, there was one more belt floating around. And our brother, hold on a second. I don't know what this guy's looking at. Don't you come over here. We might have a Karen. Don't you come over here. I'm looking at this fella right now. Okay, he walked off. Okay. Yes, I belong in this property, dude. Don't play with shit. He gave me a double take. So I'm sitting out here with a hood on. It's kind of nippy. I belong here, stupid. Go away. Don't play yourself. It would not be a good morning for you. Anyway, so our good brother Charles Martin, Prince Charles Martin, friend to the Strong House. He goes over to the UK under the advisement of Al Heyman. Al Heyman, I would like to have seen him stay here and fight Deontay, and you know, see who would walk away unified from that. But Al Heyman is an advisor, and being an Al Heyman is an advisor, he couldn't tell Frank Martin not to go get the money that Eddie Hearn was offering. He was offering him a big bag. So basically, he bought that belt from Charles Martin. Because if y'all remember, If you go back to my video when me and Stormy and Trick Nolte had Charles Martin on the show, he told us um, they offered him a lot of money, and out him as an advisor. He couldn't tell him not to go get that money and to stay here and fight Deontay Wilder for millions of dollars or less. And if you remember what Charles Martin also said, he said they had whoever was in his camp, they had him sparring these giant African dudes, and they bust up his ribs going into the AJ fight. Go listen to it when they had Charles Martin on my Sunday show. So he was in that fight injured, and AJ stopped him, and boom. With that fight, he was 3 belts up. 3 belts up. 3 belts up. And that's a bargaining chip. And it was with that win, they started to play the politics. But the politics backfired. And let me explain how the politics backfired. The politics backfired when Deontay, and I'm just giving you the short version. Deontay, he acknowledged that he was the B side in that situation, business wise. He acknowledged that he would have to go overseas to make that fight. He conceded to everything. But every time he said okay to something, what did Eddie Hearn do? He erected another obstacle. One of the things that he tried to do was he tried to throw Dillian White at Deontay. By that time, I think Deontay was about 5 or 6 title defenses in. And one of my favorite scenarios was Anthony Joshua. I think he was fighting. Who was he fighting? Forgot who he was fighting. But whoever he fought, he knocked him out. And it was rumored that Deontay may have been showing up to the UK to press AJ after his fight. And what ended up happening was Deontay didn't go over there. And I laughed my ass off. I totally laughed my ass off because the play was, now after that fight, that's why I need y'all to figure out which fight that was, because AJ wins the fight. AJ wins the fight. And they would start asking him about Deontay. And he said what he said. I wasn't paying attention because by that time I saw what the play was. When they gave Eddie Hearn the microphone, and he gave his when he gave his assessment of the situation, he was visibly pissed off. He said, "I don't know why Deontay wasn't here. All the stars are here. Dillian White's here." I said, "Why are you focused on Dillian White being here? You know what he was going to do?" Because Dillian White, that's why we calling him the Lycan, by the way. It was Carlos Takam. Thank you, main biker. It was Carlos Takam, which was a premature stoppage, by the way. I said, why the hell did he mention? No, it wasn't Dominic Brazil. It wasn't Dominic Brazil. It was Carlos Takam. It was Carlos Takam. I said, why did he mention Dillian White's name? You know what's going to happen? They wanted Deontay to go into the ring, and when he was trying to press AJ, they were going to throw Dillian White in front of him so he could act the fool. Dillian White was the guard dog. Eddie Hearn wanted Dillian White to fight Deontay so bad. And what we were saying is, by way of ranking and by way of unification, that fight made no sense. I mean, D would have knocked the shit out of him anyway. Joe Townsend in the building, salute. D would have beat him anyway. But that fight didn't make any goddamn sense. And I saw it. It was unfair. They were so quick. When I say they, now I'm talking about the unconditional UK fans. They were so quick to tell us what fight made sense and seat sales and everything else. But I said, this is unification. This is one fight away from undisputed. You make this fight now. Deontay ain't saying, "Hey, I'm a rock star. Come to America." No, he's saying, "I'm gonna go over there." Oh yeah, I'll take less money. I'll take less money. Let's just make the fight. And every time Deontay said yes, it was something else. That's why I said this was Floyd and Manny Pacquiao all over again. It was the same formula. I said, man, we've been here before. They playing games now, and more and more and more. I got more annoyed with it. I got more annoyed. I said, oh my God, they're doing this crap again. They're doing it again. They're doing this again. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Oh, I was so annoyed with it. And then I started to figure out, oh my God, they on some bullshit. And that's when I hung it up with AJ. Because AJ, the reason why I brought up Bob Arum and Don King, realistically, the talent, they need the talent so they can make money. But the talent is the boss. The talent is supposed to tell the promoter, the manager, yo, give me that fight. Hey man, I don't think you should. I don't care what you say. I want that fight. Give me that fight. Like how Canelo told Oscar De La Hoya, hey man, give me that Lawler fight. Oscar said, hey man, I don't like that fight for you. He said, no, get me that fight. He disrespected. Give me that fight. He got him the fight. And we saw why Oscar wasn't high on making that fight. But my point is, Canelo was the boss. These fighters are the boss. So I started to look at Anthony Joshua. And I said, hey man, look, all this talking, why is he telling Eddie Hearn, yo, go make me this Deontay Wilder fight? We had to live with these guys telling us, hey, Deontay is unpolished. Deontay don't have a strong amateur background. Deontay Windmill Wilder, remember that? He don't sell out Wembley. I mean, he don't sell out Alabama. Cool. So AJ's the draw. Bring Deontay to the UK. He'll fight you there. He already agreed to that. What are we talking about here? They never made the goddamn fight. And that was on AJ and it was on Eddie Hearn. He put his career in Eddie Hearn's hands and Eddie Hearn did whatever he wanted to. And what he didn't want was the Deontay Wilder fight. And that's when I lost it for AJ. That's when I lost it. And then there was the whole thing with the $50 million. The whole thing with the $50 million and, oh, I'll do it $50 million. And then it turns from that to, I ain't gonna sell my soul for $50 million. But no, you're gonna sell your soul to Eddie Hearn though. Then you start this weird ass lifelong contract with him, something that I didn't understand. Right? And until this announcement. And I'm not gonna get too deep into the AJ and Wilder thing, because we were all here for it. Just check my catalog. And all I say is stop me when I'm lying. Now you'll get some AJ fans. Funny, there's no more AJ fans in America anymore. Where'd they go? Remember they were everywhere? Remember that? I had this know-it-all on Facebook. This dude claimed he was a former trainer. This dude claimed he was in the USA boxing program. And look, I can't deny or confirm whether he was telling me the truth or not. He never posted no pictures on his Facebook. He never showed his face. He dropped a lot of names. I didn't know who he was. You know, he got insanely offended when you question his opinion. And he was just a baby. He was a little older than me. He was just a big baby. You know, I stopped fucking with him because he couldn't engage in a conversation. And when I would ask him questions like, "Hey, man, you know," one of the things that made me scratch my head is, you so pro-black and you so pro-America, but he was super high on AJ and he would trash Deontay, even when he knew his story and all. And I said, well, what the hell's going on? And this is what I call the Rocky Balboa formula. Hold on, let me read what this dude said. Y'all go ahead and block Debunk. I'm not even dealing with that this morning. Or D-Dunk, whatever the fuck his name is. Y'all go ahead and block him. Get him out of there. Matter of fact, let me do it. This is one of those dudes that is still banned. There we go. You're gone. That's a ghost account. from he still got AJ's dried semen on the side of his mouth. You know how you get that morning drool on the side of your face? He got AJ's dried semen on the side of his mouth. You nasty bastard. Get out of here. So anyway, um, what was I talking about? So I didn't understand the man crush it was a man crush. I didn't understand the man crush on Anthony Joshua. Dude kept telling me, "Oh, he's cut from the same cloth as Lennox Lewis." I said, "No, they just from the same country, kinda." But that's it. That's where it stops. I said, "This kid is not Lennox Lewis." You know why? If Lennox Lewis was in his prime and an active fighter today, him and Deontay would have fought at least twice by now. Lennox Lewis was running into burning buildings to fight any and everybody of his contemporaries. If you was in the top 10, if you was ranked number 7 in his sanctioning body, he was saying your name. Lennox Lewis wanted all the smoke. Anthony Joshua did not. And I told this dude on Facebook, I said, "There's something to that, man. Please, you're violating Lennox by saying that. There's something to that. There's something to that." I said, "You know what? You don't see it now, but you're going to see it later." And at that time, I said, "Look, there's a potential that these guys are going to meet." And I'm watching how AJ moves, and I'm looking at this guy, Deontay, and I said, "Man, Deontay going to knock this guy out with that awkward style and all." It's funny how it's awkward and fun to watch when you watch Manny Pacquiao, but it's not awkward and fun to watch when you see this slim heavyweight that got dynamite in both of his hands. And this guy comes from he's a gold medalist. He was the only person to get, gold medalist. He's the bronze medalist, the only person to get a medal in boxing that year that he participated. And you're not even getting this guy's back. But under any other circumstance, he was so pro-black on Facebook. You should have saw this guy. This guy's a living, walking contradiction. Then he goes, "Well, Anthony Joshua's black." And I said, "Yeah, well, who's his boss? And why is he listening to that guy?" I said, "Listen, man, if he don't fight Deontay, that's going to be a blemish on his career forever." He said, "Well, if they don't fight, it's a blemish on both their careers." I said, "No, Deontay's actively pursuing him. Actively. It's AJ saying no. And the reason is behind it is he can't sell out. He can't sell out his hometown. He don't make enough money. He's not a big enough star." You remember the videos of Eddie Hearn walking around my city asking random people, "Excuse me, do you know who Deontay Wilder is?" He's asking these random white people on Park Avenue. I say, "Man, they don't even know who AJ is. What you talking about? Asking who Tyson Fury is. They don't know. They don't know." You on Park Avenue, I knew exactly where he was. Don't nobody down there. The only person they'll know right now to date is Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's the only worldwide star that can go anywhere. And people will stop and say, "Oh, look at Mike Tyson. He can go to Italy, to China, anywhere. He can go to Canada. He can go to the Philippines. Everyone will stop and say, 'Look at Mike Tyson.'" I can't think of a boxer today that has star power like that. I can't think of one. I live in New York. I've seen fighters, and they'll have like a hat on and some shades, and I'll go, "Oh, yo, hey, yo, what up, man?" The weekend that Hamza Shiraz, not the Fatal Fury, Hamza Shiraz and Edgar Berlanga, they were walking around Times Square like nothing. In fact, I had my head down, and Tay tapped me. He said, "There goes Shiraz right there." I said, "Oh shit, they already done passed us though." Boxers aren't like that no more. So Eddie Hearn was playing the game, bro, and I get the marketing. He caught lightning in a bottle with Anthony Joshua. I get it, but I'm also not stupid. I'm not stupid. But you know who is stupid? American boxing fans, fanatics. And when I say fans, I mean fanatics. They're stupid. They're not like they were in the 90s or in the 80s or in the 70s. And I'm not arguing with them anymore. They're dumb. They're dumb as hell. I'm in debates with some guy that claims he was from the U.S. boxing program and he's some sort of super trainer. And one time we had this big old debate on some thread, and Thomas, maybe Thomas was there. I don't know. I know Xavier was in there, and there was some guy, some black dude that was from California, and he said, "Wait a minute, you was in the boxing program?" And dude said, "Where?" And dude started dropping names, and he says, "I was literally competing in that program." And he said, "I don't remember your name." He said, "I don't use my government name on Facebook." And he was like, "Wait a minute." But I knew his government name, so I was being a dick. I put his government name in the chat. I said, "Oh yeah, bro, his name is, Terry da 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 da." And he said, "I don't remember you, bro." He said, "Do you remember Coach so and so, and at this gym and this gym and da 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 da?" And you should have saw Terry copping please on it in that thread, and that's what made me wonder. I said, "You know what he probably was? Do me a favor. Wait, no, don't worry, I got you." Because what I'm talking about is not up for discussion this morning. So you're block 2, out the box, out the butt boxing, whatever your name is. This is not up for discussion because I'm making a point here. So get out of here. Yeah, Thomas, that's probably still Xavier's man, but yeah, whoever, who cares? So dude was in the chat giving him that work, and I was just laughing. I said, that's what made me sick and think him, because I was like, wait a minute, this dude, whoever this dude was aggressively dropping names and was like, "Yo, that's your name?" He said, "I don't remember you." He said, "I was there, I competed." He said, so I was thinking, I said, what Terry probably was? Terry probably was a poser. He was probably in that gym mopping the floor for all I know. He probably was around the situation. Like I tell y'all, I never competed in the amateurs. Damn sure never competed in the pros, but I was in a lot of gyms and I learned some shit and I did sport a lot. But I no one will know me. They might know my face, like, "Oh yeah, I saw that guy around." But I didn't take what I learned growing up into the gyms and whatever. Man, I don't even remember half the trainers that I ran drills with. They didn't know, they barely knew my name. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, today I probably have to show them a picture of when I was like a lot younger, from the ages of 8 to like 15. They'll be like, "Oh, the chubby kid." I was short back then. "Oh, the short chubby kid, I remember him. The short chubby kid that used to do backflips in the gym, yeah. The short chubby kid that did gymnastics in the gym. That was me. They wouldn't recognize me today. But I was nothing, I wasn't no gym legend. No, I was none of that. But I was around a lot of people that did shit. So what it sound like, and I'm not saying it is, what it sound like was that Terry was being exposed as a guy that was around situations but never really competed or did anything. I tell you, I was around Mitch Blood Green, and I'm not gonna drop any other names, but I've been in the gym with them and watched them work. I was just around. I was around. So I'm watching them do. It wasn't even an argument. It was like Terry was like back down from that guy, like pretty much telling him chill. But I'm reading it like, "Yo, what happened?" Terry was super aggressive with everyone else. "Oh, I did this and I did this and that," and this dude came out of nowhere. Was like, "Yo, who are you?" The time you're mentioning, I was actually in the gym getting punched in the face and punching people in the face. "Who are you? What's your name?" "Oh, I don't use my." Here was the funny part. He says, "I don't use my government name on YouTube because of my past." But meanwhile, I don't know what that meant, but meanwhile, you were so pro-black. And he was from LA, I think. So what are you talking about? Your past, what are you saying? Y'all never heard me say, "Oh man, I got to keep it on the low because of my past." What does that mean? I'm not no gangster. I come from a 2-parent household. I ain't playing the streets. And I say that proudly. I don't know nothing about the drug game, the crack game. I've never been locked up, none of that. I was a nerd. I could fight, but I was a nerd. Being a nerd was a good thing. Mike, what up? So I don't know nothing about that. So that was always strange to me. It was like he was always double talking. Whenever he was so pro-black, so pro-black, so pro-black, and whenever someone said something that he didn't like, he was on them to the point where he turned violent. And I'm watching him like, yo, what, you pro black though? What's wrong with you? I was like, all right, whatever, man. So when that dude came into the chat that day, he started verbally kicking his ass. And I watched it. And I said, man, this dude, bro, he got so mad at me for sticking up for Deontay. I said, all right, but you know what? Block, block, get out of here, man. You a banned. What do we know? This acronym. He's a bitch ass nigga. I said, shut up, Terry. Shut up, Terry. And I said, at the end of the day, everything you say in here, all that shit you pop in here, and I left him with this. All that shit you pop in here, you know. You ever come to New York? I think he live in Texas now, wherever he is. You ever come to New York, you know you keep that energy. I will punch through your high guard, and I might kill you. One punch. Saitama. Straight Saitama. One punch. Oh, Saitama. And I said I left him with that. One punch. If you know, you get all that violent and shit. I said, that's cool. I said, Terry, you know, black man, one punch. You ever in New York, you'll never, everything you type in, I know you won't say that to me. I know you won't, because you'll get hurt. And I've watched him crash out on people. Like 1 minute he cool with them online, and next minute he spazzing on them. Like he ain't know them. I said, man, this dude got it. I said, I bet your kids don't like you. But I started trolling his ass. Man, I bet your kids don't like you. It was even boxing with him. I said, I bet your kids don't even like you. Shut up, dude. So anyway, one of the main things that him and I got into it was over Deontay. And this was a quote unquote black aficionado of boxing. And that he was not. But my point is that was a lot of fanatics. And before I killed my Facebook, because I got off of Facebook, but shortly after that, I got off of Facebook right. Well, I deaded him, but enter the night. My boy, who since passed, he passed during the pandemic. But prior to that, I was invited to go to the Andy Ruiz Anthony Joshua fight in New York. I said, nah, I'm going to work. You know, I don't want to see him fight this kid. I don't care. I already know how this ends. Whatever. I'm not doing it. Y'all go ahead. So I went ahead to work. Right? Now, let me take it a step back for a minute. Anthony Joshua was pushed off as this worldwide superstar. He sells out Wembley like Michael Jackson. As soon as the tickets go on sale, people rush to Wembley and they buy out the tickets. If y'all remember, I did a troll video back then. And I went on this 10-minute rant. I'm like, what are you talking about? People go over there and where's the video of people flocking to Wembley Stadium and buying up the tickets? Like, you got to flock to the goddamn venue to buy the tickets. Like, you can't buy them online. I did a big old troll video. That shit got not a million views, please. It got a lot of views, though. And people made videos about my video. Oh, Drew Titan, you never heard of the internet? You're on it. This guy Drew's a hawk. He doesn't even know what Q means. And I said, you dumb MFs. You weak, pathetic fools. Y'all care about what I have to say about that band, Anthony Joshua, that y'all gave me all these views in this troll video? You guys are retarded. Y'all really care about what I say. Well, good luck against Andy Ruiz. Well, I'll be damned. I go to work that night. And y'all know I work for transit, so I can't answer the phone while I'm operating the vehicle. I park the bus. The first person that calls me is Thomas. So I answer the phone, and he says, yo, you saw the fight? I'm like, nah. He says, "Yo, AJ lost." I said, "Thomas, stop trolling, bro. You know, chill." He says, "I swear to God," he said Andy knocked him down like 5 times. I said, "Please stop playing with me." He said, "I swear to God, he lost. I swear." I say, "Wait a minute." So I picked up my phone. I go online, and there's AJ on the floor. Look, Thomas in the chat. He's telling you. So I look. I said, "Wait a minute, what?" So I said, "Thomas, I'll call you back." So I called my boy Keith. I said, "Yo, Keith, that's empower to him." I said, "Yo," he said, "Yo, I was calling you." I said, "Man, you know I can't answer the phone." He said, "Bro, wait, hold on. I was calling you, bro." He said, "Yo, I was downstairs." My bro Keith, he did security, right? And he was able to pull some strings, not to get me a seat, but I would like walk around the building with him. But I'd be in the venue. And he was able to get me a name tag and all that, right? So he's done it before. So he says, "I was texting you because he don't watch boxing at all. He just asked me, 'Yo, this fight's coming here. Is it going to be a big fight? Do you want to go? Whatever." I tell him, "Yeah." I tell him, "No." So he says, "Yo, I was down by this dude's locker room." He says, "Who's that tall British dude, the white guy, the tall one?" 'Cause if y'all don't know, Eddie Hearn's like 6'5". And he says, "A tall guy with the brown hair." I said, "That got to be Eddie Hearn." He says, "Yo, he was coming out the locker room. He was on the phone and he was like panicking." I said, "Well, what's going on?" He says, "Yo, the dude was on the phone telling you, I don't know. I don't know." And he said, "The tall British dude, the big diesel dude." I said, "Yeah, AJ." He says, "Yo, he comes out the locker room with no shoes on, sweating, and he looked like he had to take a shit." And they were talking, and he told him to go back in the locker. I was like, "What are you talking about, man?" He says, "Bro, dude ain't look right." He said he came out the locker room twice, no shoes on, right? Then they went in there. He said the event's going on, and then it was time for the ring walk. He came out and he looked all right. So I said, I don't know. Was he having a panic attack?" He said, "I don't know. He didn't look right." And he said, then when he got to the ring, you know, he said he dropped the fat kid. That's what he called him because he didn't know. He didn't know Andy's name. He said he dropped the fat kid, and he think it was over. And he said the fat kid get off the ground, and then he hurt him and dropped him. And he said so it was downhill from there. He said he was kicking his ass all over the ring, and eventually he stopped it. He said, "I was calling you and calling you and calling you." I said, "Oh snap!" So I went to the gym because at that time my gym was 24 hours, and I think I went live on my Facebook because there was a lot of Brits on there. We was in this. We were all just go back and forth in this boxing group that we had. It was god awful. It was named Sparta. I will admit I met some solid dudes in there. I did meet some solid dudes in there that I still talk to today. There's like maybe three or four of them. Outside of that, everyone else can go to hell. So I went live and I trolled to be damned. I trolled it up. I'm in the gym working out, doing dips and push-ups to get 30 for 30. It was 80 for 8. It was 80 for 80. I was hyped. I said, "What I got to say now? What I got to say now?" He came all the way to my city and got destroyed by the destroyer. I was clowning. "Calm down, Drew. It wasn't Deontay." No, it wasn't. It would have been, but he knew better. And here's what I'm gonna say: all of you know-it-alls that feel that Deontay didn't have a chance with Anthony Joshua, you're wrong. First of all, y'all have more faith in AJ than he had to this day, pun intended. Because if AJ felt he could have beaten Deontay, he'd have fought him right after he fought Charles Martin, because that had made him undisputed. Stop telling me what your guy can do when he's not doing it. There was no feasible reason for him not to have done it. There was money in it. and there was legacy in it. He just didn't want to do it. Bottom line, he did not want to do it. Because you could tell me all this about skill set and proper punching. You know what made Deontay Wilder so dangerous? What made him dangerous was his heart, his grit, and the fact that he was awkward. The fact that he was awkward made him very dangerous. And every time you mentioned Deontay Wilder, AJ got afraid. That's a fact. Let me bring you back to another thing. It was after, I forgot which fight this was too, but AJ wins, and they said Deontay was, he was rumored to be here, for y'all to do a stare down leading up to y'all fight. Y'all remember AJ saying, "Oh, if Deontay, if he was here, we don't do things like that, and if he tried to bombard the ring, we'll call the police." Do you remember that? Put one in. Shout out to Champ Side. Press one in the chat if you remember AJ talking about if Deontay came into the ring to try and press him, he was going to call the police. Press one if you remember that. He said that. He said that. Press one if you remember that. He said he was going to call the police. I said, "Oh my God." Call the girl, salute. 78, you remember that, right? Willie Lowe, salute. Willie Lowe, bomb squad in the building. You remember that, right? He said, "We're going to call the police." I said, "Oh, bro, I made a meme. I made a meme. Because when they asked him about Fury, they said that Fury, Cam, salute. Yes, he said that. Charles Toon, you remember? He said that. I made a meme. When they went to AJ, they said, "Oh, Tyson Fury's here. What if he comes to the ring?" He said, if Tyson Fury comes to the ring, I'll knock him out. A fight later, they say, "Yeah, if Deontay Wilder comes to the ring," he said, "I don't know, we might have to call the police." I said, "What the fuck?" I said, "This dude is Buddhist. He is Buddhist. He is scared of Deontay. You know why? Because of what Deontay brings to the table. Grit. He brings grit. And look, you know what made the Rocky series? I'm talking about Rocky 1 and 2. Rocky 1 and 2. Ignore the fight choreography. It was the 70s. Give Sylvester a break. The story was about the underdog. The story was Apollo Creed was the apex predator of fighters. He had it all. He had speed. He had power. He had it all. And he picked this guy, and he made him a star. He gave him the name the Italian Stallion. But what happened was, it was a cherry pick gone wrong because Rocky wasn't as polished. He was a club fighter. And on paper, remember what I said a while ago about the goddamn stats don't always tell the whole story. On paper, Apollo was supposed to wash Rocky. But what did he not factor in? Rocky had grit. Rocky wouldn't stop. He only knew one way to go. That's why Evander beat Mike Tyson. He outshined him, but Mike told him years later, he said, "Man, why did you give up when I hit you?" He said, "Well, you're not supposed to." Duh. Okay, I'm on the floor. Well, he didn't knock Evander down, but when the fighter hits the floor, it's like, okay, I'm here. I hear all of the count. Okay, I have all my bearings. Okay, I guess I'm going to get up and fight again. Some guys will get up and say, "Yo, man, how dare you embarrass me? I'm going to get that back." But some guys, when they hit that floor, they're like, "Oh my God, I'm a millionaire. I'm in front of my family. I'm in front of my country. Oh my God. Oh no, I'm embarrassed. I'm going to get on my bike and I'm going to run for the rest of the fight." No. No. Now, here's the thing. I already said AJ was a dog. He got up off the floor against Klitschko. Andy Ruiz kept knocking him down. He got up. He didn't quit against Daniel Dubois. What made him so afraid of Deontay Wilder? He couldn't bear to lose to a guy that they put this tape on that he couldn't box, he couldn't throw no proper punches, he could bear losing to a Dubois or a Dillian White or a Klitschko. He could deal with that, but I can't lose to this guy that they've convinced the boxing world is so trash. Well, AJ, you basically did that because that was supposed to be an easy fight for you. You were supposed to take it. And you told me who you was when you, to this day, refused to fight that man. Because what Deontay brings to the ring is that grit, that fire, that I'm not going to give up. You're going to have to kill me. And I'm willing to die for that. And AJ wasn't ready for that. And he's not ready for that to this day. He wasn't ready for that. And Rocky too. Because if you don't remember, Apollo won the first fight. But he didn't win the drama of the fight. And that's what Rocky 2 was about. The underdog fought. He lost, but he fought enough to make it a great fight. And everybody was like, we got to see this again. So Apollo was this rock star. And his people were saying, man, you ain't got to do that again. You won. But Apollo, being the competitor that he was like, no. I won. But look at what the people are saying, man. I got to dominate this guy again. I got to do it. You remember when his trainer threw everyone out and says, yo, champ, I don't like this fight. He said, why not, man? I'm better than this guy. He said, champ, he kept coming. He wouldn't stop. He didn't say nothing about he has a better jab or footwork or nothing. He didn't say nothing about that. He said he kept coming. He would not stop. That's what he said. That's the fear. That's what AJ ain't want those parts of. Deontay is going to keep coming. He's always dangerous from round 1 to 12. He ain't want no parts of that. Bomb Squad. And I said all that to say this. This Jake Paul thing, if it's for real, this is a spit in the face to all of us. Now, all of you fun boys, all of you doodle chasers, you guys are cowards. You guys are suckers. I don't like you. I don't like you at all. I really don't. If this Jake Paul fight gets made, I want you guys to understand. Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua, that fiasco was how many years? I think that I want to say that was from 2015. Oh, let me say it how Anthony Joshua said it in his interview. Yeah, I'll fight Deontay Wilder. I don't care if it's from 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. I'll take the fight when I know I could win it. He literally said, I'll take the fight when I know I can win it. Those were his exact words. Don't challenge me on that. That's what he said. I'll take the fight when I know I can win it. If Deontay Wilder gets in the ring, I'll call the police. Oh, another thing he said was, oh, I don't want to get the audience up to a fight that's not going to happen. It's not signed. I don't want Deontay getting into the ring and have us do a face-off and the fight doesn't happen. We don't want to get the audience riled up for something that's not going to happen. Well, let me bring something to your attention. Before Anthony Joshua fought Vladimir Klitschko got into the ring and they did a face-off. Did you know that fight wasn't even signed? It was just talked about. Then AJ wins this fight. Klitschko got into the ring. They did a stare down. Then they did the contract. Did you know that? Did you know that? Look it up. That's why the Deontay Wilder, I'm going to call the police thing if he gets in the ring and the fight's not happening and I don't want to get the people riled up for something that's not written down. There's no contract here. That's why I was banging my big ass head on the wall like, no. You just did that with Klitschko, man. Y'all remember that? Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn exist in the realm of double talking. They're all full of shit. That's what I'm saying. You can't debate me with this Deontay Wilder. That's why these two clowns that came in here, there's no debate with this. I was here for the whole thing. Before I had a relationship with Bomb Squad, and I have a relationship with them now. I was here for the whole thing. You can't bend and twist history. How you view it, your perception is different. And right now, this is the icing on the cake. This is further proof that y'all are pussies. That's why I got Brother Deontay saying that AJ big pussy. That's what he is. If he signs this Jake Paul fight in this short amount of time because Melo Yellow messed it up, see, I want y'all to think about this. You talked about AJ before, but to me, it was never a reality. And I want y'all to understand something. Y'all spent so much time telling us that Jake Paul's not a real fighter. Y'all spent so much time telling us that. You know, fine. I agree with you. Although he's ranked at cruiserweight. Although he was about to fight Melo Yellow. And the Melo Yellow fans was cool with that fight. So y'all don't want him to see him fight a real fighter. Y'all don't want to see him fight his contemporaries like Shakur or Devin or Teofimo. But y'all okay with him fighting this guy that outweighs him by 50 pounds. You're fine with that. AJ fans, if y'all are still around, y'all are really okay with this? Isn't Deontay washed up? That's what y'all say. Is it now the time to get him? Who would you rather see, AJ fans? Why y'all not holding this kid accountable? Because I'm telling you right now, I'm going to stand on this. If that fight happens, AJ is knocking out Jake Paul unless there's an agreement, and I will know by the end of round one. Don't tell me that Anthony Joshua could starch Francis fucking Ngannou in 2 rounds. Ngannou, who's a real fighter. Don't tell me that he could sleep Ngannou in 2 rounds, but he's gonna go 5 rounds with Jake Paul. No. I don't buy it. AJ's knocking him out. AJ's knocking him out. I'll know by the end of round 1 if AJ's carrying this guy. I'll know by the end of the first goddamn round. If this fight is even, first of all, if this fight's even made, AJ's Buddhism. That's booty in punani, merged. He's hermaphrodite genitalia. Yes, he's both. What do they call him in the Philippines? He's bakla. I was calling Pac fans pakla. That's what they call him in the Philippines, bakla. That's what he is. He gets out of bed, and his penis is joined with his vagina every morning. That's Anthony Joshua. That's him. He's disgusted. If this fight even happens, that's how I feel. There's no excuse for this. How are you on one fight away from undisputed, and you don't go get that WBC strap from a guy that can't throw straight punches and who's not a real heavyweight? All right, so Deontay's not a real heavyweight. I also remember Deontay flirting, saying, "Hey man, I can't get no undisputed fight. I can't get no fights at heavyweight. I might as well go down to cruiserweight." The assholes in that god awful Facebook group went crazy. Oh, he's gonna go down to cruiserweight and bully a cruiserweight. And mind you, who was that cruiserweight back then? Usyk. Usyk was there. And I said, hell, he can't get no fight from these giant guys at heavyweight. He may as well just cut about 10 pounds and go to cruiserweight, since he can't get no goddamn fights. These niggas went crazy. They went crazy. Remember when he broke his hands and had pin in his hands? He had pins in his hands. They were like, "Oh, that's why he has knockout power. He got something in his hands." I said, "You guys are drunk. The beer in the UK got to be more potent than anywhere in America. You guys are on big drugs. You guys are on big drugs. Big drugs. Y'all can't be serious with this. But they were. They were. Excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. And I want you AJ fans to understand something. It's never on our time, it's on God's time. If your boy gets into the ring with that guy and you support it, if you start talking about, well, he's going to get a lot of money, I told y'all there's no fundamental difference between Tank Davis fans and Anthony Joshua fans. All of you guys are suckers. All of you guys are suckers. Y'all are cut from the same cloth. Y'all just born from different soil. You cut from the same cloth. And this is why I don't respect you. This is why I don't respect Anthony Joshua. This is why I don't respect his fan base. This is why I don't trust Eddie Hearn. Why are you putting big ass AJ in the ring against Jake Paul? How much money do you think Eddie Hearn's getting from that? Go on and tell me. How much money do you think Anthony Joshua's going to get? Because this guy like talking about money, right? Fine. Tank is going to get $40 million. How much was Anthony Joshua going to get? Since he's this big rock star, Anthony Joshua's a bigger rock star than Tank Davis is, right? I would love to see Tank Davis fans go back over Anthony Joshua fans. Put them all in one room, and I'll just roll 3 grenades in there. Get them out of there. How much you think Eddie Hearn's cut's going to be from that? Kunta Kinte. I'm sorry, Toby. Ever goes since 20. Maybe. How much of that money that Eddie Hearn's getting? If AJ get 20, I bet you Eddie Hearn get 15. 10 to 15. This type of time they on. And it's because of fans like that. Y'all never understand. Y'all gave breath. Y'all gave a breath of air to guys like Eddie Hearn. Y'all gave a breath of air to guys like Jake Paul. Y'all did this. And through the best not fighting the best. And y'all talking about money that you're not spending. You're not earning. You have to earn it to spend it. You're not even earning it. You're just online with your chest poked out, screaming and hollering like you know something. So all of this shit happening, you gave room to men like Turkey Al-Sheikh to come through and take over the sport. Where if we had the best fighting the best, all right? If you had the best fighting the best, there would have been nothing for Turkey to do. When you put your look, man. When you don't put the sport first, because if you put the sport first and you do the right thing by the sport, you're doing the right thing by yourself. So you can't be denied. You can't be denied. If you beat all your contemporaries, the money's going to be there. Case in point, Devin Haney. Devin Haney was undisputed at 135. He tried to fight Shakur on the way out. Shakur said, no, I know my worth. Devin moved on, went to 140, got a belt. Tank Davis now has his WBA strap. He didn't fight for it. He got it via email. But now all of a sudden, nobody wants to use that term, email champion, right? All right, that's cool in the game. Devin moved how he wanted to move. Didn't make long-term deals. And now when Turkey started hitting hard, who's getting that Turkey Al-Sheikh money? One of the first fighters was Devin. One of the first ones. And then y'all start saying, oh, he bending the knee. He's bending the knee. Tank don't bend no knees. No, he bends over. But he don't bend no knees, right? All right, cool. Everything that y'all put out on Devin, it flung back and hit Tank in the face. Even the Diddy jokes. Oh, he got a picture with Diddy. He was at the Diddy party. But we got videos of Diddy hugging Tank up out of his shoes and socks and then chasing him around the goddamn lobby. Talk about, come here, boy. I was like, yo, what is that? Oh, Tank don't gotta bend the knee. Well, he ain't bend the knee to Turkey. All right, fine. He bent the knee to Jake Paul, and y'all said leave him alone. We left him alone, and he can't even get that right. So his next fight is going to be under whom and what and where and who is he fighting? You see, same thing with AJ. He went around Deontay, ended up losing to Andy Ruiz, got the belts back, lost them again. Look at that. Look at that. Y'all literally had to poison Deontay and disrupt him. Y'all allowed that to happen. The Daniel Kennedy thing. Y'all allowed all that crap to happen. Y'all did this. Y'all did it. And I wouldn't say that y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves, but there's no shame in y'all because y'all don't know any better. Y'all but just a bunch of dumb knuckle draggers. That's why I say y'all can't talk to me. That's why I block these fools in here. That's right, Trill Will. You know, so y'all cool with him having a slave contract and everything else? Cool. Look where it's got him. And I'll never forget that he was one fight away from undisputed. He was one fight away from undisputed. One. Because him versus Deontay, that was a 60-40 fight. 60 leaning towards Deontay. It'd have been a great fight. I got Deontay knocking him out, though. I got Deontay knocking him out. But Eddie Hearn was protecting his investment, and he was using the less knowledgeable boxing fans who have a loud voice for some reason. And he used that to position himself for them not to get the fight. Nobody held it over his head and say, hey, man, that fight not happening was your fault. They just say, oh, we don't care whose fault it was. But Deontay didn't deserve. Y'all let this happen. So AJ fans, if y'all still around, there are no more American AJ fans. Y'all don't exist. Y'all never exist. Y'all were fake. Like I said, y'all were all fake. But I'm going to say this. You idiots. Two things. How is it y'all able to make this Jake Paul fight on such short notice? Not a problem. But you couldn't make the damn Deontay fight for goddamn 4 years or more. That's number one. Number two, how do you feel fighting this clown fight? Because that's what this is. It's not serious. There's no rankings for the last time we saw AJ in the ring, he was getting flatlined by a real fighter. And his next fight is against it's this clown fight? That's where it's gone with you? If Deontay Wilder was entertaining a Jake Paul fight, y'all would be losing y'all mind right now. But you're about to put this former unified champion in the ring with Jake Paul. That's what y'all think of AJ now? That's what we doing? That's what it's come to? You shouldn't be taking clown fights until, or I'm gonna use the word now, expeditions in tank language. You shouldn't be taking expeditions until you're retired. Now it's okay to do it while you're an active ranked fighter. This is the new flex right now. Which is why I'm saying Jake Paul is the face of boxing. This is all your fault. This is y'all fault. Don't tell me nothing about no Turkey. Don't tell me nothing about no Jake Paul. Y'all did this. When you let inmates run the asylum, this is what happens. We have an abundance of tank fans running the place. You get disorder. You get dysfunction. Kawhi Leonard, salute. Endorf, salute. Chris, what up? This is y'all fault. So he goes from getting knocked out by Danny Dubois. What is this? I mean, this is what, a warm-up fight? He has to get his confidence back? How are y'all dealing with this? Why aren't the AJ fans in abundance screaming like, no, 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 we don't want this. AJ's better than this. No, y'all gonna take it. Like how Tank fans are gonna take it. Both of y'all active. Tank is a WBA champion. When did this Jake Paul thing even come into play? What are y'all doing? But this is what it's come to. It's clown shit. When I'm talking about boxing, y'all talking about seat sales, tattoos, chrome hearts, braided hair, greasy abs, and leg sizes. And I'm starting to think leg size is code for penis. And this is what y'all have done to boxing. This is what y'all have done. Y'all let AJ duck Deontay all this time. Last time we saw AJ in the ring, he was straight Luke Campbell. Not the boxer. I'm talking Luke Campbell, Tulaku. Face down, ass up. That's the way y'all like to schmuck. Doodle Brown. That's y'all. Over these fighters. How you get punched so hard you fall in the doggy style? That's muscle memory. That's repetition. AJ falls asleep in doggy style. Y'all know why. Lambrowski, salute. Y'all know why. He falls asleep in doggy style. Exactly. Clown. Your man, listen, I hope this doesn't go through for y'all. I hope it doesn't go through for y'all. Jake Paul. And as a bonus, if that Jake Paul fight is for real and it happens, what if AJ loses? Now, I personally think AJ gonna knock his head off. But if he carries that man, past 2 rounds, I'll know. Don't tell me that Jake Paul gets in the ring with Tommy Fury and loses and has all of this trouble with him, and he lost. And then he gets in the ring with Anthony Joshua and competes. Jake Paul hasn't improved. You gonna tell me Tommy Fury is better than Anthony Joshua? And no one told Jake Paul, get it back in blood, man. You lost to Tommy Fury convincingly. Get it back in blood. Y'all don't say these things. These things are reserved for a certain kind of fighters. Y'all are clowns, man. That's why I don't listen to y'all. Jake Paul's next fight was supposed to be against Tommy Fury. Y'all don't hold him to that standard. That's what I'm saying. Y'all are not fans. Y'all are fans of fighters, and y'all hate all the fighters that you raise, that you wave your pom poms for. Y'all are haters of the contemporaries, and y'all find more. Y'all are pleased by the fighter that you love not fighting his contemporaries, because it drives real boxing supporters up a wall. And this era of fanatics are like children. It's like, he ain't got to do it. You enable your fighter being a pussycat. That's why I got brother Deontay back there saying, yo, AJ been pussy. If he fights Jake Paul, he's pussy. He fucks around and loses, that's it. Never fight again. But I'm sorry, he got that contract with Eddie Hearn. He has to do whatever Eddie tells him to do. Sucker. So, I'm done here. Bomb squad all day. Time reveals all truth. And your man is about to, I'm talking to the AJ fans, your man's about to jump into the damn ring with a YouTuber. This is how stupid y'all are. You remember when Tank got into it with Jay Leon Love? Yeah. You go from training world-class fighters to training a YouTuber. Yeah. He said, yo, Tank, I don't know what the animosity towards me is. Me and you never had a problem. Yeah, stay over there. And I'm like, why is this going over everyone's head? You went from training, he tell her Jay Leon Love, You went from training world-class fighters to training the YouTuber. What, the YouTuber that you're about to fight? Wait a minute. What? Did y'all catch that? You went from training world-class fighters to training the YouTuber. What? I'm training the YouTuber that you're about to fight. What? So what is it about getting money or not? You about getting that? You getting that chicken, right? You getting that? You getting that money, right? You're supposed to be fighting Tiafimo and Shakur and Devin, but you're fighting a YouTuber. And then when we say, "Hey man, Tank, that's not right," you say, "Mind your business." Your fans say, "Yo, let the young kid get his money." Okay, we left him alone, and he's not getting no money. And now AJ's about to get that money. So now I'm looking at the AJ fans and say, "Y'all cool with this too?" Look, man, you guys are retarded. You've been retarded. And there's no hope for you. Y'all are hopeless. So with that being said, I'm out of here. Salute to everybody in November. Deserve the cash at the Super Chat myself. Appreciate you. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Love y'all. I don't know if I'll be live tomorrow. I'll see. Just check what I put out. Let me salute to y'all. When I get back to New York, there'll be some Patreon flame coming out. Oh boy, I got a lot of things. I just couldn't upload anything because I had to bust this move. But salute to y'all. I think the general's on. Let's head over there. And salute to you AJ fans, man. Salute to you stalkers. I ain't forget y'all.
I'm gay. Gay, like super gay. Like one down here, one here, one here, one here gay. I thought you knew that.
You see, here's the thing. You know what they try and say? And this is what they used to say in Sparta, in that god-awful boxing group on Facebook. You know what they used to say? I'm like, you know what? Nothing's connecting with you. You just on here arguing like a girl, not even a woman, a little girl. And I don't do things like that. I don't talk in circles like that. So I bid you a good day. Oh, blocking's the sign of weakness. You can't block people. If you block, that means you won. No, I don't argue with women, and I don't argue with my wife, and I'm not going to argue with you. I said what I said. We're not going to see eye to eye. Have a good day, sir. I'm not getting on here just to argue with you, just to do that shit. Just talk in circles. That's why I don't do these debates. That's why I'll go back and forth with none of these dudes. I don't need to do that. You know why? Everything I've said about these fighters, about their demeanor and how they conduct themselves, have I been wrong? Have I been wrong about Anthony Joshua? Have I been wrong about Tank Davis? That's why when these fools come, we had two fools in here. One fool came in the chat and said it a little while ago. Oh, if someone can't speak their opinion, blocking is, I don't want to hear what you got to say. We're now almost a decade involved with this. We're a decade in with this AJ shit, and nothing's changed. In fact, it's gotten worse. And now you're about to fight a clown fight with Jake Paul. That's what you're doing, bro. We couldn't get Deontay Wilder versus AJ. You about to get this Jake Paul thing on short notice? Are you kidding me? That was for the money. He's getting money. Well, you remember when they were telling us that AJ was the richest and wealthiest boxer in the world? He makes $100 million, $100 gazillion. You remember that? It was the Tank Davis conversation. So when I say things like, yo, we've been here before, that's what I mean. When I told you, I said, man, Tank fans started to sound like the Anthony Joshua fans about 5 years ago. We've been here before. We've been here. The thing is, the Tank Davis fans weren't here. And I said, yo, y'all doing the same shit that AJ fans was doing. He's not the wealthiest fighter. He don't have the best resume. Y'all just like him because of how he looks. Y'all remember that? I remember that. I was here. And it's ending the same way. And it's just poetic justice that he went from Tank Davis and Tank Davis fucking it up. And now he's going to Anthony Joshua. Now, Anthony Joshua won't fuck it up like that because Anthony Joshua don't play in the streets. But I find it eerily strange that he's in a position to do something like that because they are cut from the same cloth. Avoid your contemporaries while fooling the public and making tons of money. Well, to you, he's making tons of money, but the reality is they're not bosses. Deontay Wilder's a boss. His pockets are deeper than Anthony Joshua's. Trust me, they are. Devin Haney's a boss. His pockets are a hell of a lot deeper than Tank Davis, especially when these women get done, getting paid off. Oh, he's done. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, time reveals all truth and the lies not but a long way to the truth. I'm right, they're wrong. And what you do is you take your AJ praise and your Anthony Joshua praise, your Tank Davis, Abdul Wahid praise. You turn that son bitch sideways and pound it up your mother's ass. Bronx on deck.
Move!
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.